and welcome to the Spirit Society of Virginia. Today, we have a very short, beautiful message. It's only 6 lines, but it's so powerful. So let's read it together and open our hearts to feel it. So it's an excerpt of the message, Collaboration, from the book Roteiro, Script, in English, by Emmanuel Chico Xavier. Just as in the sphere of material achievements, Spiritism naturally invites us to reflect on our role in the moral order of life. Each individual is a significant part of the machinery of progress. We all have important obligations and improvement of the spirit. A soul without worthy work is a shadow of inertia in the concert of general harmony. Brains and hearts, hands and feet, indisposition, empty words, and stagnant thoughts constitute a deplorable freeze in the service of evolution. Life is a divine force that marches forward.
Wow. Yes. There you go. So what do we do now again? Who knows? What do we do now after the message? We pray. Yay. So good to pray. We talk with God. No middleman. Right? Straight from our hearts to God. Let us feel this love that comes from God. Thank you, God, for inviting us to new knowledge, to new understanding, to opening our hearts, to boosting the harmony of our relationships. Thank you for the gift of life, and especially for the spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists who have prepared the therapy that we need. We know we cannot hide anything from you, and we don't need to justify our mistakes. It's fruitless. But to repent and surrender. Surrender to your call to greater loving discipline and partaking in the feast of our community. Asking for your guidance, feeling your protection, we thank you for the permission you're granting so we can begin this moments of prayer and study together and so. Okay, so let me share something before we go. What we do inside with the children and teens is more important than going to school. Way more. I love math, but in our relationships, math does not save a marriage. Even money, the math of money doesn't. History of the world helps us understand what we should not repeat, but it does not save the relationship between siblings. What we learn inside will certainly empower us to be happier and healthier. So we encourage the parents to encourage your children to keep coming, to keep diving within it. I was blessed enough to be in a spiritist center since I was born. thanks to my parents, I never skipped it. And here we are today. As simple as that. So these days, Ms. Karen, Mr. Felipe are taking you guys, those who are registered. If you have not registered, you can come in to the rooms inside. For those who are not registered, we can talk at the end. All right, friends? Okay, I will go there just to set up something with our friends, but I'll leave you to Humberto de Campos just to introduce what we're going to talk about later. It's a story, it's a true account that happened in Hollywood, in the cemetery where Marilyn Monroe is buried. Humberto de Campos, the spirit friend, did an interview with her and reported it through the medium Chico Xavier. So let us watch this while I'll move this. I'll move. Got it.
Kardec Radio presents an interview with Marilyn Monroe. Brazil, December 5th, 1934. Humberto de Campos, famous member of the prestigious Brazilian Academy of Letters, discarnates. 3 months after his passing, Humberto writes again, this time through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier, then 24 years of age. The piece is written through Chico Xavier, Sheikh Brazil. The eloquent style of Humberto de Campos was reborn through the mediumship of an uneducated young man from a small town in the interior of Brazil. Public attention turns into public debate. The matter becomes a hot topic in the Brazilian media, and the family of the discarnate writer sues the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, FEB, publisher of Humberto's posthumous works. The Brazilian justice system acquits FEB of any wrongdoing, and FEB decides on its own to publish the new books under a pen name to avoid further uproar. The name chosen by Humberto himself, Brother X, was an allusion to another pseudonym he used while incarnate, Counselor X. In his 12 following books, Humberto de Campos wrote fantastic stories from the beyond. He interviewed famous celebrities, national heroes, emperors, and apostles of Christ. One of the most interesting of such pieces is the one we bring you here. An interview with actress Marilyn Monroe, who, after passing in Los Angeles on August 5, 1962, tells us what happened after her physical death. 7 years after her death, Marilyn talks with Humberto de Campos about the dangers of physical beauty, fame, and fortune. In the interview, Marilyn Monroe discards homicide theories, tells us she had no intention of committing suicide, and shares with us her plans for the future.
We were strolling along Wilshire Boulevard in Hollywood when we felt enthralled by the serenity of Memorial Park Cemetery across Glendon Avenue Gardens. The graceful cemetery was populated by a vast number of spirits. We decided to go in. Overall, the atmosphere was tranquil. Tombstones stood erect as stony appeals to peace, suggestive of reflection and prayer. It was spring, and every native color could be found in the luscious courtyard. Some spirits paced in distress and pressed for answers, while others, visibly debilitated, barely limped, aided by their nurses. At a corner, 2 ornaments marked the entrance to a mausoleum where the physical remains of several celebrities were laid to rest. Once inside, we found a plaque with the epigraph, Marilyn Monroe, 1926 to 1962. Quite stunned, I turned to my friend Clinton in disbelief. Is this the Marilyn Monroe whose sudden death shocked even us in the spirit world?
Yes, but here you'll find much more than the remains of a legend. She is sitting outside over there.
Clinton pointed in the direction of a Chinese elm, and there, under its branches, sat none other than the most celebrated movie icon ever, bringing back so many memories. Just short steps away, she rested her platinum hair on the lap of a young lady that looked after her. She seemed distant and pensive. We had obtained permission to ask only a couple of questions because her condition was delicate. Clinton introduced us, and I quickly said, "I am a friend from Brazil who cares to hear anything you would like to say."
Does a Brazilian seeks me out in the beyond?
Why not? Your experience would be so valuable to so many all around the world.
You mean my failure?
A life's lesson.
How can I help?
Your life made such huge impact on the audiences. Just a few words for the sake of those who worshipped you, and still do.
But who wants to hear a sad story?
Pain teaches much.
Look, I was a woman like many others, with neither time nor disposition for philosophical issues.
Nevertheless, I'm interested.
All right then, tell women not to be deceived by beauty and money, freedom and fame. They will lead to success, but what a slippery road it can be.
Should women stay at home?
No. The household is a responsibility of both men and women. I am referring to women's age-old fight for equal rights. Now that they are on much more equal footing, especially in the developed nations, they must exercise caution. Freedom, like money, power, or intelligence, is very powerful, and so it can be very dangerous. Exercise caution.
Marilyn got me thinking about the many implications of her wild success. Miss Monroe, when you speak about equal rights, are you referring to sexual freedom?
Especially sexual freedom.
In what way?
Judging from the obstacles that women have faced as opposed to men throughout history, it comes as a natural consequence that these days they feel empowered by a strong sense of entitlement to every kind of experience. That can easily come at the expense of a life well lived. Now back in the spirit world, I see that each incarnation endows the spirit with a new level of consciousness, and hence the challenges we encounter. Each time a woman flees from her responsibilities, she is undermining her own evolution.
You mean to say that sex?
Sex is a doorway into the physical life, a mighty tool that can make or break depending on the use we give it.
Fascinating. Would you elaborate further?
I really lack the necessary knowledge to speak on such sensitive a subject. I do know that it is a sublime mechanism that allows the love of God to take its course in both the physical and spirit realms. When it is not treated with reverence and respect, we are swept by strong forces coming from the lower zones.
Miss Monroe, I am delighted to see that your suicide did not hamper your lucidity.
My suicide was not so. The living freely speak about the dead since we cannot respond. They forget that one day they will be in our place. In reality, I had been afflicted by the effects of a severe spiritual obsession for a long time. I was deep in depression. Since childhood, I wrestled with my emotions. No one ever showed me any boundaries, and so I had trouble managing my freedom. After many sleepless nights with neither guidance nor faith to sustain me, and almost in a state of unconsciousness, I ingested what expelled me from my body. My intention was only to get some sleep.
Were you able to sleep through your transition?
Not at all. When the housekeeper knocked on my bedroom door, I awoke and saw myself in 2 places at the same time. I screamed, but nobody could hear me because I was already out of my body. To my horror, I realized that my house was full of spirits who had been draining my energies the whole time. Worse yet, next I followed what happened to my physical remains with great anguish. But this is a chapter that I beg you not to make me revisit.
How is it possible for you to be aware of your spiritual surroundings while asleep and intoxicated?
Well, remember that I did not have the intention to commit suicide. I was classified, though, as an indirect suicide since I squandered, in the name of art, and all sort of self-indulgence and excesses, the very energies given to me to progress and evolve. Not too long ago, I was told by some spirit friends that I would not be fully at ease until I freed myself from the spirits who, like vampires, had grown accustomed to gratifying themselves at my expense. But I knew nothing then about the laws of life.
It is apparent that you now understand the mechanism of spiritual obsession very well.
Yes, I consider spiritual obsession a much greater problem on Earth than cancer. Let's pray to the Lord of Life that science will acknowledge it in the near future.
Marilyn was already showing signs of fatigue, and so I had to conclude our interview. Miss Monroe, I said on a final note, it was a pleasure. Would you briefly share your plans for the future?
In my present condition, I first need to regain my health and strength. Then, I'll return to Earth as a student in the School of Life to pick up where I left off. Realistically, I cannot look forward to anything other than reincarnating to relearn the lesson I failed.
I thanked her. We exchanged our goodbyes, and I saw her small hand waving at us as we left. Later in the day, as I organized my notes, I found myself reflecting on the immeasurable value of the teachings of the Spiritist doctrine and the utmost importance of its dissemination.
Okay, friends. This video can be found at YouTube Kardec Radio, at YouTube Kardec Radio. And you'll find many videos there for you to enjoy. As we are seeing here, just a note on this video before we begin the very topic today. We can do anything we want, but there will be consequences. So, Marilyn Monroe is an example of how we are free to choose, but we will harvest exactly what we sow. So for those who cherish sensuality, sexuality, sex addictions, watching porn, and sexual promiscuity, and even sexual affairs, obsession is just around the corner if it's not already implemented there. Read the book Sex and Destiny and we'll see it. There's no way for us to be harmonious in a family when we are sleeping around, when we are doing all these things, including porn. Okay? So, we today will briefly talk about something that is so important for us, about the key to social harmony. Let me share slides with you. Makes it all much easier and very meaningful. So here we go. All right. There is a story told by a spirit named Valerian through the medium Valdo Vieira, who worked with Chico Xavier for a while. In the book, Blessed are the simple. It's not in English yet, but it's a phenomenal book. Bem-aventurados os aflitos in Portuguese. And he talks about a spiritist and his friend doing good works for those who are in need. And the guy, who is not a spiritist yet, he looked at his spiritist friend and said, you know, sometimes I go help people who are in need, but they're not kind. We hear that when we go to DC every Saturday, right? It's very hard, very hard. The spiritist friend saw a dog and said, okay, here, give this bone to the dog. He got the bone and gave it to the dog. Just like that. Here. The dog picked up, wasn't too happy, and left. He was puzzled. He said, you see, even the dog, I give the bone and he doesn't get it. The spiritist friend said, let me get another bone. And then talked to the dog, was very friendly, give lovings to the dog, and then the dog was wagging the tail, got the bone, it's beyond the bone. Scientific research already proves that between food and love, dogs prefer love. I have a dog and I see that every day. She can spend 6-8 hours without food. We come home. She doesn't care about the food. She wants to pet. When she is satisfied, then she goes in. It is. So we are being asked about how we do the good. As we were telling the children inside, according to Spiritism, we're not good spirits yet. No. So when we want people to look at us and say, oh, I'm a good person, we're becoming good. According to the terminology in the science of the spirits, starting question 100 onwards in the Spirit's book, it's the part 2 of the Spirit's book, a 4-part, second part. Kardec discloses that there are imperfect spirits, good spirits, pure spirits. Imperfect spirits are those in which wrongdoings are still overriding the good choices. Yeah, we do good things, but majority of times we're selfish and proud and egotistic. When we become good, it's because the good prevails. There's still something for us to work upon, but the good prevails. We're no longer waking up for our selfish to-do lists. We are like Chico Xavier. So if we want to have a reference of a good spirit, Chico Xavier, as easy as that. Next time we say, I'm a good person, swallow first and say, I'm working on it. Pure spirits, only the good prevails. Jesus. See the levels. And we're saying this not to put us down, not to make us feel bad about ourselves, but to make us strive for more. Because I know people say, but Vanessa, I don't do anything bad. Okay. Not doing the bad does not suffice. You go to work, many people do. Pay the bills, many people pay the bills. You don't commit crimes, many people don't commit crimes. Does that make the cut? No. What's the key? What's the key? According to studies in Spiritism, we reincarnate for profound transformations. So, how old are you now? How old am I? From when I was born to now, have I changed profoundly? I mean, physically, as we changed from a baby to now. We're profoundly changed. But besides the physical, the moral, the intellectual, do I have more knowledge nowadays than before? Because some people, they don't want to go to school. I don't like school. You don't like school? So you want to go back to caveman time? We want to go back to the times in which schools were not existent? It's a very new thing of the modern times. In the last, 100 and some decades, 100 years and some decades, now we have schools in the last, 50 years. The laws changed to the point that now we have to go to school. But you and I know that there are countries in this world where going to school is not an obligation. If I go to Africa, there will be kids who are not going to school. They're helping the parents, though there are laws saying that child labor is a crime. But we know that exists. But in a nation like ours, we're so privileged that we have a system in place to tell the families that school is a must. And that's a profound transformation, to love learning. Do I love learning? And then we're past, let's talk about us, like past high school, college, now working professionals. Is this it? Can't we study more? Oh, Vanessa, I don't have money to pay. But you don't need to pay. There are lots of certificates at Harvard, MIT, Cornell, Duke University, Caltech, and many universities that are free. We can take courses and get knowledge free of charge. But Vanessa, I'm so tired working every day. Or I am tired. I worked already enough in this life. Oh my Lord. Huh? Need to retire. Oh my Lord. And then we heard in the news recently that a 90-plus-year-old man in the US got his degree, his PhD. It's like, wow. Because there are people, you call them, what they're doing, going from physician to physician to physician to physician. That's the retirement. Physician trips, right? Physician to physician, therapist, etc. But no room to help anybody. Is this it? And then we say, when I retire, I'm going to help. No, you won't, because when we retire, illnesses are, as Emilio says, nurses in our lives. So this thing about, oh, when I retire, I'll be a good spiritist practitioner. I've never seen that. Those who do, continue. Those who haven't done, don't get to do it. To a few exceptions, of course. So what are the profound transformations that we need? Yes. Did we reincarnate to get that job, get a house, have a family, raise our kids, then grandkids? Is that why? No. If you read the book, The Messengers by Andrea Lewis, we're going to get to know that we were born for much deeper achievements than that. That can be done by anybody. But those who know of Spiritism, we have another mile to walk within. Something people will not see. Profound transformations. For example, let's say in previous lives I was a good liar. In this life, my greatest transformation will be not to lie. The temptation to lie. And I will learn not to lie. Let's say in previous lives, I was very good at manipulating people. In this life, I am going to experience tests in my life, situations that will tempt me to go back to that conditioning. But I will consciously refrain and not incur in the same mistake. Let's say in a previous life, I used my authority to oppress people. In this life, I will probably get to authority positions again and learn how not to do the same. Let's say in a previous life, I didn't respect people in my family. I was not a family person. In this life, I'm going to learn to be a family person. And sometimes we're going to learn by not being able to make a family at all. It's what we call expiation. We despise so much in the past the gift of a family that in this life we would dream about it but will not succeed. In the past, we had casual sex, committed abortions, or told our partners, the females, the women, to get rid of their babies. And now we want to have a child and we can't. And we're devastated. But don't forget, there's always adoption. A person is only childless if they want. Because if you can gestate, you can always adopt. You can always foster. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be harder. Because I know people who have wonderful relationships with their foster or adopted kids and terrible relationships with their biological children. So if in a previous life, I was not faithful in my marriage, in this life, the plan is for me to learn to transform myself profoundly and be respectful, do to others what we would like to receive. So what we needed to consciously identify the target in this life. How do I know? Very simple. What is the most challenging thing for us? That's the target. The most challenging thing is eating, because I love indulging. And you are born in America, where indulgence is just everywhere. Everywhere you go, the plates are enormous. The meals are abundant. You have food everywhere, drive-thrus of everything imaginable. Now you go to malls and you have cakes in vending machines. Brazilian cakes. In the US. And you want to go on a diet. You can't even shop at a mall because you encounter the temptation But that's our goal, to learn not to indulge, to have discipline. So we need to identify what is the most difficult thing for me, elect one, and target it consciously with therapists here in the spiritual treatments at the center, in the spiritual realm where they have therapists and clinics. When we go to sleep, we pray. They bring us to the clinics. They work on it. I don't like studying. This life, I would love to study. Right, Olivia? You agree. So, yes, you see, she loves studying. Good job. So, of all things to transform in ourselves, the most difficult is relationships. If there is one thing in our lives that is a no-brainer, is I reincarnated to master relationships. That's for all of us. Nobody's absent or excused of that learning. To master relationships, not to deceive people and be a good business person. No, no, no. Or to do what Marilyn Monroe did. Use my body to conquer the world and seduce the world and be in the hands of the obsessors, tormented. And now she has to start all over again. She failed. Okay? People say, oh, Marilyn Monroe, but she failed before her conscience and God. Oh, but she was so, no, the body was beautiful, but the body's already decomposed. Gone. So let's ask material science to help us a little bit. There is what we call social intelligence, which is the ability to understand and manage relationship with others. Social scientists, psychologists, they research on this. There's a lot of research on this. And within social intelligence, there is a ramification that is very popular that we call emotional intelligence. And that's what our kids are learning today. Emotional intelligence for immortality. They're going to learn the ins and outs of it to boost their relationships with friends, family, everyone. So what is emotional intelligence? It's the ability to manage our own emotions and understand the emotions of people. When in 1990, before Daniel Goleman, the sociologists, social psychologists, they defined, that's when the definition came of emotional intelligence, they said, we need to be good at tracking our emotions. Are you good at it? We have no training on it. Somebody asks, what are you feeling now? I don't know. It takes time. Some people will find a word. Other people say, I have no idea. I don't care. I don't need emotions. I'm a rational person. And Dr. Antonio Damasio, the leading neuroscientist in this field at the University of California in San Diego, he says, to be rational, you need emotions. We need emotions. Our reasoning depends on our emotions, so it's impossible to be good at our reasoning without being good at processing our emotions. But social emotional intelligence is not only about knowing our emotions. It's about tracking, monitoring the emotions of others. And then people are lost. Like, how am I going to get to know? I have no idea what they're feeling. See, we have no training. And then there is a subfield of psychology, neuroscience, studying what we call emotional body language. If we train ourselves, We look and we know. Don't need to be psychics or mediums. You look at the person, their facial expression, posture, gestures, silence, tone of voice, and I know what they're feeling. And the third pillar is I know what I feel, I know what others feel, and the third one, I discern what to think and to do next depending on this. So let's say I came from work. And some people drag themselves into the house, right? They don't walk into the house. They drag. They open the door. It's noisy. They start talking with everybody and they make noises and they are like, oh my gosh, the day was so hard today. Pause in the video. What is happening here? -10 emotional intelligence. Are you the only one in the house? You think people were at the spa the whole day? They were in Hawaii while you were working so hard? No! Everybody, even our kids and parents tell their kids, it's easy to go to school, it's so much harder when you go to work. That's easy what you're doing there. You have to be good at it. Right, Jean, as a teacher? You know that's a no-no. We wish being in school nowadays were that easy. Huh? 1,300 kids in a school. 3,000 kids in a high school. Imagine if for every incarnate we have at least 4 discarnates, now you know the crowd. It's a village in a school. Your kid goes to school, our workplace is a dream. It's for those who work at home, you don't need to bump onto 10,000 people. Right? But the kids come home, and we are cavemen, cave women, troglodytes. So hard. I work so hard. It's easy what you do. When we are emotionally intelligent, before I go open the door of my house, I'm like, yeah, today was difficult. In the car, I start processing. Yeah, what the boss did was challenging. What the employee did is challenging. The projects are challenging. But things will fall into place. You do affirmations, prayers, and then you open the door. It's a new world. Hello, the dog. Hey. And then the children. Yay, it's like we've never seen each other before. It's like we've been apart for 10 years. Everything. That builds a different atmosphere in the house. I hug. Come here, how are you? I missed you. How was it in school today? Did you enjoy it? And of course, on their side, when they come, right? I'm hungry. First thing we hear. I'm hungry. Okay, hold on. There's no servant here. Huh? Okay? This is not a maid. Okay? So we're going to teach emotional intelligence to them. Look, you're hungry, I'm hungry, everybody's hungry. Breathe. The first source of nourishment is the air. Breathe. Glass of water. And let's together think about what we need to do next. Oh, but I'm so upset. Okay. So now let's work on this. Emotions. Have you asked me how was my day? And we think our children are excused of asking this question because they are children, but then they become adults and we're seeing others. No manners. People don't know how to say hi. In the name of freedom, I'm free not to say hi. I'm free not to say bye. So then there's no social harmony. What is this? The freedom that we give to our kids have a price later. No, no, no. Hello, did you ask me how my day was? Do you want to learn how my day was too? We're going to exchange. But of course, they are priority because they are learning. But we need also to boost what we call empathy, which is big part of social intelligence and emotional intelligence. How can we be in harmony if people do not pick up on what others do? Like we come to the center, for example. We are all equal. No matter the role, we all are humans, have a human body, we're incarnated, we have a reincarnatory plan to fulfill, we have our jobs and our families and our years, we have same problems. Nobody has more problems than others. It's not comparable. So when Felipe read Emmanuel's message, Emmanuel said something. I will come back to this one. I'll just keep one thing before. That is in the laws of society. Each individual is a significant part of the machinery of progress. A soul without work, worthy work, is a shadow of inertia in the concert of general harmony. So when our kids, for example, enter home and they feel excused from cleaning, helping, recreating, vampires to the family. The house, unless they are 2, 3, 4, of course, they can help little things. But when they are older, it's a must. This house is ours. It's a symphony here. We need to work straight together. The maestro is God, and we are here, each one playing our instrument. So let me go back and just add 2 more elements. If we want to know more specifically about areas of emotional intelligence, at Harvard, there are many resources, but I love this take from Harvard Business School when they give 4 core areas of emotional intelligence in which we need to become competent. We need to be self-aware. What am I feeling? I need to be aware of others, social awareness. I need to learn how to regulate myself, self-management. And I need to learn how to manage my relationships. If I want to be in harmonious relationships, I need to boost my social emotional intelligence. Our kids go to school, come back, and the drama is the same. That person was a friend, is no longer a friend. Now they're enemies. Now they're slandering. Now they're... And then we teach our children to learn to read the red flags. And that's what we're teaching them inside. A series for 2 months, friendship skills. How do you see that that friend is going to become a bad friend? We need to detect, to prevent problems. You see it, you avoid it. You are friendly, but not necessarily friends. You don't tell them secrets because it's going to turn against you. It's a classic. The strategy. Watch the movie Mean Girls. And I hear in the clinical office, the teens telling me, oh, I told the secret and now my best friend is no longer my friend, is telling that secret to everyone. But didn't you see the red flags? If a friend comes to you bad-mouthing somebody else, they will bad-mouth by you. Keep it up. If they are mean to others, one day they will be mean to you. Don't be naive. But mom, I want friends. Everybody wants friends. But Jesus said, to win friends, we need to give our step first. And the first step is inner self-awareness, self-regulation. And then social awareness, the awareness of others and how I manage this relationship. In the Spirit's book, in the Divine Laws, we're going to see great ways of understanding relationships and ourselves, boosting our self-awareness. Who am I? Law number 1, child of God. Law of worship. God comes first, then me. And then, number 2, I can only function well in society if I am useful. Law of work. 3, I need to reproduce the good works that other people have already done. We have lots of models. Law of reproduction is not only about gestating a baby. It's about doing good works. Jesus is the perfect model. He didn't have children of his own, but he reproduced all the good that he found. Law of preservation. If you see that that person is not doing well, don't go there, tease the tiger. Let them alone. Leave them alone. Tell your children at home, or your dad or your mom, they're not well today. Let's pray. But don't go there teasing and bickering and snapping at each other. And this brings to us the talk about siblings. At home, we need to learn to be in harmony amongst ourselves. We may disagree, but not going there and being mean to my sibling. They don't like that I say yellow and I say yellow, just to make them mad. Oh, we cannot afford profound transformations by cutting relationships in our families. Okay, if we're not on the same page, I pray for my brother or my sister. And when I encounter, I'm not going to compete. Because if we don't learn these things at home, when we grow older, we're going to repeat these patterns with colleagues at work, with the family we're going to form. It's going to be a disaster. So we need to learn to look at our brother and sister and say, that's how we are. As my grandmother used to say. She used to say in Portuguese. It's hard to say that in English. Jesus falou que nos amássemos, não que nos amassemos. Jesus said that we should love one another and not smash one another. To love. As spiritists, parents, grandparents, we need to foster the the union of our children with their siblings. There are times it's dangerous, whatever. Let's say we have a sibling that became a criminal. It's going to be hard. But we pray for this person. Probably won't be able to be under the same roof. But I won't be an enemy. I'm not going to tease. I'm not going to compete. I'm not going to do this, that, and that. But we'll be in our corners. Look what Jesus did. He went to Nazareth after revealing himself as the Messiah. He went back to Nazareth. It's in the book Good News. It's in the Bible too. But in the book Good News by Humberto de Campos, the report is very detailed. And there is a moment in which he goes there to talk to people. People are mesmerized. He does the healings. When he turns his back, the disciples start listening. People talking about him. Oh, I think he's a show-off. Just like family, right? Just like family. We tell the success of our children, show off. If we don't sell, you never tell us anything. So they're never satisfied. So they said, I think he likes drinking. I think he likes women. He's always around women. Slandering. The disciples came to Jesus and they were furious. Like, Master, aren't you going to do something? Look what they're saying about you. Yeah, we're leaving. They're like, what? We're leaving? You're not going to confront them? You're not going to say anything? You're going to let them speak about you like that? Don't need to say anything. He left, never came back. He's home sitting. Did he confront? No. Did he compete? No. But there are times in which there is no conversation. You let people be who they are, and you are going to be who they are. But if we're under the same roof, we need to foster loving care in such a way that we make our children understand, and we as well, that we have a role in this family, in this group. And if we don't have any particular usefulness, we are creating a problem in the harmony of everybody. That's why the spirits repeat time and again that we need to be careful about inertia, about idleness. It's impossible to be in harmony in a group if people are not useful. We need to have goodwill. Go home. I'm so tired, I'm not gonna cook. Well, but there's a family here. You're tired, I'm tired, everybody's tired. We cannot afford. We need to have an agreement. You know, I'm so tired today. What can we do? I know everybody needs to eat. Let's team up. Oh, I'm so sick, I'm dead. And then the dog needs food. The children need food. And some people are like this. They check out. Oh, I have so much to do at work. And then people are left abandoned to themselves. No, we need an agreement. It's a social symphony. We cannot afford the violinist not to play at his part. I'm tired. You rest later. Right now, you need to focus. That's called discipline. How often Chico Xavier worked being sick? Every day. How often he helped others without having money in his pocket? Every day. And the spirits say, if you are tired, work more. If you are sick, help others who are even sicker than you. And that's the direction. We cannot afford being idle. For social harmony, we need this awareness that everybody is just like us, equal. Teaming up, feeling empathy, and willing to transform ourselves. For that, we have a wonderful model, Jesus. If we need a role model for social, emotional intelligence, the guy. We've never heard Jesus saying, now. No, don't you see I'm in an important meeting? Whomever came, children, women, or men, sick or not, rich or not, he talked to everybody equally. He never screamed at people. Even the people say, oh, but he went to the temple and the merchants. He used the whip. Read the book Genesis. Kardec has a completely different interpretation. He was so firm in his words that people felt like it was a whip. He never used it. He was above a whip. So he is our model every day. Neuroscientists say we need a model to boost the best in us. If we look at Jesus every day, we are going to be profoundly transformed. We're going to stop here and be inspired by the Master. He is our model. Let us meditate on the 10,000 lessons he gave to us with his whole life and feel the call to more harmony in our lives. All right, friends. Does anybody have a question before we move to the passages? You can ask a question. Then. No? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Of course, if you have anything you want to ask in particular later, we'll be here. Let us prepare ourselves for the passages.
I went there. Nothing's wrong.
You did. Everything's well. Did
I
they
think-
do
No, X-ray.
nothing? Good.
Maybe they say it's something different. You go to your doctor. They say.
can see here. Laura, you can see here too.
Okay. So let us see Jesus, our best friend, and visualize him in front of us, giving his hand to us and saying, "Come with me." Let us come with him and feel his loving embrace, strengthening us, healing us, boosting the joy of living inside of us. Let us visualize the loving and kind spirit doctors here present. Their illuminated hands showering us with their healing love. now. The presence of Dr. Bezerra de Menezes and his beloved team of doctors, nurses, and therapists coming to each one of us and delivering the medication that we need to achieve greater balance of the mind and the bodies. Let us breathe in and out, intaking their healing medication. Let us take a look at Jesus in the picture. Let us visualize that we are that little kid holding his hand, and he is bringing us to a beautiful garden. As we inhale the flower's perfume, this healing air is strengthening us and boosting our joy of living. Do you wake up in the present? Yeah. Wake up, you can take medication and 30 minutes. Let us visualize Jesus. He's holding the hand of that child. Let us visualize that we are that child. And he is bringing us to a beautiful garden. And we are inhaling that healing air that strengthens us and boosts our joy of living. Okay, one more. Não, é a higienista.
So let us now, friends, one more time, keep this image of Jesus in front of us as we raise our thoughts in gratitude. Dear Master Jesus, we feel so grateful to be here today in this Sunday morning, partaking in this feast of light. Your Master loves us so much that you provide us with not only the medicine of the physical body, but the medicine of our souls. Master Jesus, we pray that we can go home feeling renewed, strengthened, so that in our daily lives we can remember how to bring harmony to our relationships at home, at work, in our communities, so that we can be peacemakers whenever we are, and we can be key in our society. Dear Master, we pray so that feeling your strength, we can fulfill the plan that you have for each and every one of us. And then we can share this light with all those that we encounter on our days. We also pray for those who are here in the spirit realm, so that they can also feel strengthened and renewed in their also journey of learning and renewing themselves. Grateful for this moment, we ask for your permission, Master, to close this meeting of today, and so be it. Friends, we only have a few announcements before